Now at 10, a broken elevator raises issues for tenants in a Pittsburgh apartment building. Plus, first responders train for worst-case scenarios at Webb City High School. And Yates Center Police introduce a special coin for a fundraiser helping kids.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Tenants of the Stillwell apartment building in Pittsburgh are searching for answers to what's causing the delay in repairing the elevator. This is KOIM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. KOIM's Amber Jenkins has more.
The elevator in the Stillwell apartment building in Pittsburgh has been out of service for more than a month. Tenants of the 4-story building says this isn't new, but as time goes on, it's growing into a bigger issue.
Most of the time I use a cane or a walker, and I fractured my thigh bone about a year and a half ago. I've got brittle bones. I'm absolutely terrified of tripping and falling down all those stairs.
Nina Boland has missed multiple doctor's appointments due to the difficulty of going up and down the stairs. Boland's niece, who also lives in the building, brings groceries and other deliveries to her aunt's door since the elevator stopped working.
Poor girl, she's my mailman, my garbage man, and she'll lug up groceries, and that's a long way for a petite person to carry a lot of stuff. And she's got a full-time job anyway, so I don't want to burden her.
There's not a whole lot I'm not willing to do for her. First of all, I love her, and I feel like we're kind of a part of a community here, and I want to try to help out people if they need it. The problem is that I'm one person and I have a full-time job.
Both living as neighbors on the 3rd floor, Thompson says the 3-flight hike isn't a problem for her, but is for others.
If I were older or if I had some kind of problems, I think this would be really difficult to get around. I've seen other people who are mobile, but just because you're mobile doesn't, technically my aunt can walk, but she's not very stable. She needs a walker a good point of the time because she gets off balance and stuff.
The aunt and niece duo say they understand the on-site workers are just trying to manage like them. The building is operated by a nonprofit board. These tenants say they try to get information from the board on the status of the elevator and when they should expect repairs, but the tenants say they haven't gotten clear answers.
Like I said, I don't think it's any one person's fault, but once again, I don't understand the full picture. I don't know what the root problem is, and no one's really coming forward with the root problem. It feels like, and maybe there's not one problem, but give me a list then. I don't care how long the list is.
A spokesperson for the city of Pittsburgh confirms that the fire marshal is aware of this issue. Reporting in Pittsburgh, Amber Jenkins, KOIM News.
The executive director of the apartments provided a statement this evening which says, in part, pigeons had torn a hole in the elevator cage wiring, which allowed the pigeons to get into the cage and nest. It also allowed water to come into the cage, which shorted out the motor. The contractor informed staff today that they believe they have the parts for the repair, end quote. KOIM will continue to watch for updates on this story. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather.
Well, of course, another warm and windy day for us today. Near record highs again, 80 during the afternoon. 54 was our low. Average highs 59 degrees. It's still mild. Look at this, mid to upper 60s. Near 70, Kansas and also parts of Oklahoma. The winds are going to stay strong tonight, so 10 to 20 with gusts kind of in that 25 mile per hour range. We have had a couple isolated little storms pop up northeastern parts of Oklahoma. These are pushing northeast, so we'll see if they can hold together. But again, a random isolated thunderstorm for us tonight. And then our western counties late tonight through the overnight hours. You guys will get a batch that kind of drags across the northern counties late tonight. Some of those could be on the strong side as well. Then, as we get into tomorrow afternoon, we are going to have a returning severe threat for Thursday afternoon. So, of course, we're going to break it all down for you here in just a bit.
See you soon. 3 men from Kansas City, Missouri now face federal firearms charges following an investigation into that mass shooting during the Chiefs Super Bowl rally. Prosecutors have filed 12 charges against Fado Antonio Manning and 4 charges each against Ronell Dwayne Williams Jr. and Jaleel Hendrick Groves. These charges include gun trafficking and straw purchases. That's buying guns on behalf of another person legally unable to make the purchase themselves. According to court documents, 12 people pulled out firearms and at least 6 people fired weapons at the rally. It was attended by an estimated 1 million people on February 14th. One woman died, nearly 24 other people were injured. Prosecutors charged 2 men, Lindell Mays of Raytown, Missouri, and Dominic Miller of Kansas City, Missouri, with second-degree murder and several weapons counts for that incident. People in Webb City might have noticed emergency vehicles at the high school today. Well, you should know the Webb City High School hosted an emergency response drill involving multiple area first responders. The exercise was designed to prepare area response teams for any situation that may arise. It was just a drill. In a statement posted to its Facebook page, the school said, quote, "Our students and staff's safety is always a top priority, and drills like this continue to help us improve," end quote. Challenge coins can be traced back to the time of the Romans. Now they're used more as collector's items. Well, the police chief of Yates Center, Kansas, has created his own sort of challenge coins to help raise money and awareness for kids with special needs. The coins are on sale for $10 a pop and will go toward buying sensory toys and other devices designed to help kids who need them.
I want to continue to help moving forward to help our students with whatever they may or may not need to be successful in our modern day society. And if that means that I need to help purchase anything from sunglasses to iPads to a blanket, I will do so for the students.
If you're interested in buying the coins, check out the link on our website, KOIMnewsnow.com. They say those coins can be shipped at no extra charge. In a bipartisan vote, the House passed a bill that could lead to a nationwide ban of TikTok if its China-based owner doesn't sell its operations. Skylar Henry reports.
Keep TikTok! Keep TikTok! TikTok content creators protested outside the Capitol as House lawmakers passed a bill that could bring a nationwide ban if TikTok's China-based owner doesn't sell its stake.
This app is so much more than just an app for dumb TikTok dances.
Lawmakers raised concerns that ByteDance's ownership of TikTok poses a national security threat because of Chinese laws on intelligence gathering.
It's simply a divestiture of TikTok so that this social media platform can be owned by an American company that would protect the data and the privacy of the American consumer from malignant foreign interests like the Chinese Communist Party.
While others argue that fears about TikTok may be unfounded.
We have yet to receive one piece of public evidence that actually shows that somehow China is actually negatively using our data. That has not been proven.
TikTok has more than 150 million American users. TikTok's CEO released a video on the social media platform after the bill passed in the House.
Over the last few years, we have invested to keep your data safe and our platform free from outside manipulation. We have committed that we will continue to do so.
The bill, which passed by a wide margin, next goes to the Senate, where its prospects remain unclear. President Biden has said if Congress passes the measure, he will sign it. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
CBS News has learned that TikTok paid to fly and lodge some of its most popular users to Washington this week to make their case against that bill. If it becomes law, it would give ByteDance 6 months to sell the video sharing app, or it would be removed from web hosting services in the U.S. Missouri Southern's baseball team's riding a hot streak. John's going to have details on the Lions' rise up the latest coaches poll later in sports. But first, autopsy results reveal how a non-binary teen in Owasso, Oklahoma died.
Have you areas of my body, and it's NSAID free. Cool the pain so I can get back on the court.
The death of a non-binary teen in Oklahoma has been ruled a suicide. Next Benedict died on February 8th, the day after a fight at Owasso High School. An autopsy report released today shows the 10th grader did die by suicide. The Owasso Police Department issued a statement saying investigators saw signs of suicide from the beginning, but wanted to wait until that was confirmed by the Oklahoma Medical Examiner's Office. Nex's death drew national attention with multiple vigils taking place for the teen throughout the U.S. Conservative lawmakers in Kansas move one step closer to a ban on gender-affirming care for minors. Sean Logan has that story.
The bill is hereby declared passed.
A bill that would limit gender-affirming care for minors in Kansas moving out of the House Wednesday.
These vulnerable kids are in a critical phase of emotional and psychological development. The irreversible nature of surgical interventions, hormone therapy, and puberty blockers are an unacceptable burden of Kansas kids to bear.
Republican leaders say 22 other states have similar measures protecting children's mental health and preventing life-altering decisions. Democrats voting against the bill say this doesn't help kids.
The threat of banning gender-affirming care at any age causes severe distress, suffering, and heartbreak for those in hope of a better future.
This bill prohibits healthcare providers from using surgery, puberty blockers, or other medical treatments for anyone under 18 whose gender identity doesn't match their sex. Jalen Abeg with Equality Kansas, closely monitoring this legislation, says providers work closely with patients to make sure transitioning is the right option.
Once these transgender children are identified, less than 1% of them detransition because they are not transgender. So it's a very effective path of care.
Another part of the bill would prohibit state employees whose jobs include working with children from things like using a child's preferred pronouns.
Can be devastating to children because they lose possibly the only point of contact with someone who can truly appreciate them and celebrate them for who they are.
A transgender woman, Jalen, says it's frustrating the trans community continues to see these types of bills.
This bill literally will cost lives. The statistics just indicate that. And the state legislature will be complicit in that.
The bill now moves to the Senate. If approved there, it would advance to Governor Laura Kelly's desk. Kelly vetoed a similar bill last year. A little bit later, the Jayhawks and the Wildcats tip off for tournament games tonight. John's going to have details on those games and more coming up in sports.
Plus, we have more thunderstorms over the next 24 hours. Details coming up.
Ashley, this is home.
Oh, no. It just can't win with big rocks these days.
Home Outlet is your home store.
Well, another warm day for us today. Near record highs across the region as we made it right around 80 during the afternoon, which is pretty good. And it looks pretty good right now. Here's Indigo Sky. Casino and Resort Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, so we're tracking a couple isolated thunderstorms, northeastern parts of Oklahoma. We've had a couple, and as they press in, they've kind of fallen apart the farther away they get from the dry line. So I don't think we're going to have much in the way of thunderstorms. We'll see if this guy kind of holds together as he passes Veneta, gets in the southern parts of Ottawa County. But again, a few isolated thunderstorms out there for us this evening. This is just a strong storm. You can see how the tops are shearing off with the very strong winds. All the big storms tonight have been Kansas City, northwest Missouri, back toward Topeka, Manhattan, Salina, Hayes, Kansas. And that's where majority of it is going to stay for tonight. Now, late tonight, so let's say after midnight, some scattered thunderstorms will start popping up in our western counties. Here's 2 a.m. and a few of these guys could be strong to low grade severe. They drive across our northern counties through the night. Most of us end up staying dry, and then the thunderstorm's gone by about 5 o'clock in the morning. All right, mid to upper 60s, still holding near 70, Kansas and Oklahoma. Let's go outside. Here's 7th and Range Line, 68. South winds at 15. Look at the gusts. About 25 miles per hour, and these strong winds are going to hold on through the night tonight and then again as we go into the daytime hours tomorrow. So pretty big storm system in our pattern. This is the storm system we saw one cycle ago, January 24th and January 25th. In our upper level low, pulling out right across the southern parts of the Rockies, right into the Central Plains. We have another severe threat tomorrow. So on the Kansas side, just a level 1 out of 5 and even lower once you get into our western counties. Southwest Missouri through the metro, level 2 out of 5. And then once you get into our southeastern counties, a level 3 out of 5. So that's where the highest threat is going to be. This is going to be from about 1 p.m. until about 10 p.m. Main threats, hail, wind, and tornado. So I'm going to elevate all the threats. But again, the greater threat for severe weather is Joplin, south and east as we go into Thursday afternoon. All right, let's go into the morning. thunderstorms, northern counties. Morning's going to be dry. Once we get into the early afternoon, watch thunderstorms blow up. Look at this, along and south of I-44, Joplin South, Neosho, Anderson, Pineville, Monette, Aurora, Cassville. These will most likely be severe. These are going to push through and east. They'll refire again back along the I-44 corridor and then push east. And after 7, 8 o'clock, we're pretty much done. Colder air is going to start to filter in, so it's going to be a cooler day by the time we head into Friday. High temps only into the upper 50s, so about 20 to 25 degrees cooler by the time we go into Friday. All right, alert day tomorrow due to the possibility of severe thunderstorms. High temp near 80 again. 58 cooler on Friday. Sunshine over the weekend, back into the 60s, so it's going to be pretty nice, and then cooling down again by next Monday.
Yeah, loving the look of the weekend. Once again, nice weekend.
Yeah, looks good.
Thanks, Doug. As the temperatures warm, more homeless are choosing outdoor living in Pittsburgh, despite city ordinances created in the past year. Today, we found new encampments both under the 4th Street overpass and on the Highway 69 bypass. City Manager Darren Hall says 25% of police calls last summer involved a homeless person. After many heated city meetings, commissioners eventually passed an ordinance banning individuals from living in tents inside city limits. 2 weeks ago, the commission went a step further, creating an ordinance banning urination or defecation on public or private property. Last fall, the city removed the original tent city on the Highway 69 bypass.
We have so many people complaining that the pedestrian traffic across the bypass was extremely dangerous. It just got to a point where we were like, we just need to put an end to it because somebody's going to get hit and it's going to be a disaster.
But even with grant money and housing vouchers for qualifying individuals, Hall agrees there isn't enough affordable housing in Pittsburgh for everyone. Tomorrow night, in her special report, Beyond Homeless, KOAM's Tanya Bach is going to look at a long-term solution already in the works for Pittsburgh. Tomorrow at 6. Still ahead, Missouri Southern baseball continues to rise in the top 25 national rankings, and the McDonald County Mustangs signs with Missouri Southern football. John Dales has those stories and a lot more. It's coming up next.
America, it's a 24/7 kind of place.
Springs, Kansas, or Carla Boyle in Independence, Kansas.
Hey, welcome into sports. I'm John Dales. Missouri Southern football has brought in several players from the 4 states during this year's recruiting cycle. The Lions add to that today with an all-state defensive lineman. McDonald County High School senior Jace Hitt signs to play college football at Missouri Southern. The future Lion is a 2-time All-Big 8 and All-Area offensive and defensive lineman. He also earned second-team All-State honors as a D lineman this year. Hitt says he's excited at the opportunity to become a difference maker right away in Joplin.
Oh, it's going to feel great. I've obviously already missed the popping of pads since the quarterfinals match left a bad taste in my mouth, so I'm really excited to get out there and go pop some pads again and get back in the football spirit. I'll go there and show my work ethic and crack the starting lineup and hopefully be a great player there.
We got about 6 months to go until high school volleyball season in Southwest Missouri. Today, big coaching news on that front. Joplin High School hires a new head volleyball coach. Emily Killian, the Eagles announced via press release. She comes to Joplin after being an assistant at McDonald County High School. Now, Killian says she is incredibly grateful for the opportunity to be a part of the Joplin Eagle community, and she looks forward to preparing for the season with the team this summer. Now to college basketball, NEO women's basketball. Quarterfinal game of the Region 2 tournament, down 2, just a couple seconds left to play. Nakia Blakely puts up a 3 at the buzzer, and it goes down. The Lady Norse stun Redlands at the Horn. They advance to the regional semifinals. That's Friday, 3:30 in Muskogee. That brings NEO just 2 wins away from a trip to the national tournament. Most recent Division II college baseball coaches poll released this afternoon, and Missouri Southern moves up to the 9th spot. Lions were ranked 10 last week. They've won 7 in a row, most impressively maybe, 15-0 at home. Southern plays 3 games at Pittsburgh State starting on Friday. And the second round of the Big 12 tournament takes place in Kansas City today. Both the Jayhawks and Wildcats with games tonight. We start with Kansas State, who enters as a team on the bubble of making the tournament. Wildcats beat Texas by 4. That sets up a very important quarterfinal game for KSU tomorrow against 2-seed Iowa State. Final game of the night, Kansas men's basketball in a little bit of trouble against Cincinnati. They trailed by 13 at half, down by 5 with 10 minutes left to play. KU trying to get a comeback to keep its Big 12 tournament run alive, set up a date against Baylor tomorrow. Obviously, you don't want your conference tournament run to just be one game ahead of March Madness.
No, you want to be building up steam and be at your peak, really, heading into March Madness. We'll be right back.
From the moment you call until you walk through.
We are proud to salute Bradley White, a 4-state hero.
Look at that. That's Walt Disney, I believe, with Mickey and all sorts of other people. They're Steadley Elementary third graders transformed into iconic historical figures from Missouri. Today, those students at that school in Carthage performed at the famous Missourian Wax Museum in the Steadley Library for their parents and family members. Some of the wax figures were George Washington Carver, Dick Van Dyke, and Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Actually step into time. They dress the part, they speak the part, they look the part. They actually just dive into it full force, and they become that individual.
School officials say the event is educational and entertaining for everyone, celebrating the rich and cultural heritage of Missouri. What fun, and I'm sure made an impression that those kids will remember for a long, long time, maybe the rest of their lives.
Absolutely.
Possibility of some storms tomorrow, Doug.
Yeah, we still got to watch tonight because I do think some thunderstorms are going to pop up around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, kind of affecting Fredonia, Yates Center, and then pushing east. But these will most likely be severe with some very large hail. So we got to watch that through the overnight hours. I'm going to stay up, keep my eyes on it. And then tomorrow afternoon, we're going to have chances for strong to severe thunderstorms again. So that's why we have an alert day. High temp 79.
You'll keep us posted as necessary. Final sports note.
Missouri Southern softball off to a good start to its season. Lions are back at home tomorrow with a doubleheader.
Very good. Thanks for joining us. Morning show starts at 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.